see that's in Chicago. Being a thing you found.
I just could see, what is the texture of that teeth, those teeth? Like, is it like latex? Like, what did that feel like on your face?
The outside is nice and rubbery.
Okay.
And the teeth are like hard rubber. It was very weird.
How did it feel being eaten by it?
Oh, it's full of blood.
Okay, I'm gonna clean this later.
With the same toothbrush. It was an experience.
Sure.
I had no.
I've been like threatening him quietly and being like, you don't know what I'm gonna do to you. Okay, before we ask the audience, what did you expect and how did it compare to what you expected?
I didn't think you were gonna brush my teeth in front of an audience.
Was it too kinky?
It was. What was I expecting? I was expecting you to do something weird. But that could be anything with you. That could be. I kind of anticipated there'd be something that would involve like drool, because she asked me to bring this. I don't know if you guys know what this is. That she sprayed in my mouth near the start. Do you guys know what that is?
Is it to make it salivating?
Yeah, it's a slime spray.
Nice.
So because we were bringing that, that was all I knew. It was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna. Yeah.
What's the actual use for that spray, or is this it?
I think it's more for like medical conditions where you can't, dry them out.
But you can buy it non-prescription, like it's not.
Yeah, for people that have a non-dry mouth and you want to make them drool in front of people.
Have you gotten the aftercare you need?
It's a little interrupted, I guess.
Yeah. I'm fine. I'm frustrated, but
I had so much more planned. I have a whole tray of dental instruments and like the little picks and the little mirrors and things. I have like a winch as well for his mouth with like rubber grips and like. But you know what? It's never gonna be perfect. And when you're bleeding, I was like, we should stop. It's not what I planned. So.
yeah.
Well, thank you for modeling how to deal with what you need to deal with. And
I had fun, and nobody got injured really. So he gets those things a lot. Like it's not necessarily.
yeah. What was your inspiration for this?
Ooh, what did I get excited about? I'm trying to remember how I even ended up on this topic, but I had this concept for like a dental visit in hell. My concept was like bad priest goes to the dentist in hell. And I was just like, priest is like, he's done a bad priesting job. And he has to do this every day. Like every day in hell, he goes to the dentist and he just gets beaten to shit by the dentist every single day. And he's like, okay, day 301, I go back to the dentist. I was kind of like the concept. But I like a lot of, I like really bothering him in his mouth because I think it's really psychologically like uncomfortable and visceral. So like I have flossed him before, and I also like to use the floss sometimes like in bondage because it really cuts into your flesh like a wiry kind of thing. It's very uncomfortable. And also it's disposable, you can cut it off and throw it away, and like it's kind of handy.
I've been tied teeth to genitals before.
Teeth to nipples to genitals.
Sorry, no, nipples.
It's especially handy for like cock and ball torture because again, it's really small and then you can cut it off and throw it away and so.
Meters and shoelaces.
Yeah, definitely meat and shoelaces. And there's like a peppermint
doesn't feel.
Oh, it's just better for everyone. What was my inspiration? I don't really remember. I just got this idea that it was like bad priest goes to the dentist in hell, and then it just kind of escalated from there. It worked. Because this began as a really sort of typical, like, oh, I'm such a nice priest and I'm getting beaten up, like, oh dear kind of situation. And it kind of just like developed, and then I found this tool online that's supposed to teach children how to brush their teeth. It's like, what does I do? This is so weird. There are also ice tongs you can get where the ends are dentures, and I really want to get those. And then just like chomp you with them, but like from a distance. But I went with the rubbery ones, but I think they weren't as soft as I thought they were going to be. So, but I put them in the freezer. I think it's some really weird, interesting textures with that, you know. Did that answer your question?
It's like Little Shop of Horrors.
Yes,
absolutely.
But in her brain.
I didn't even know that, and then we went to do karaoke yesterday, and then Nikki chose the dentist. Yes, the dentist song, and I was like, like obvious question, but I didn't even know about that actually. So that was not my specific thing. I think I just really enjoy making him uncomfortable, like really deeply uncomfortable, but in a way that like is not dangerous. If that makes any sense, like the brushing and the flossing, and I'm gonna floss every single tooth, and he's like, why?
What's the most uncomfortable that Lee's made you?
Ooh, great question.
Wow. I don't know actually. Yeah, she's. Well, we've done something similar where I was upside down, but this time I was outside, so I was hosed down. As you can imagine, it wasn't warm water. And at one point, I think she like tucked the hose. I was just in boxers. She tucked the hose into the boxers, and then was flossing my teeth and like brushing them. And I was like.
Yeah, that's on brand.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many things.
But there's just so many ways that you can make somebody apprehensive or uncomfortable or whatever. Like, for example, I would like boil the kettle and then boil the kettle into a bucket like next to him and then not used it.
Yeah.
Like never trusted and do anything with it. I just did that to like, he's like, oh my god, what should I do with that? Do nothing. It's just there. Hot sauce. Hot sauce is good too. You can lay out all your things and then be like, also hot sauce. Like, why is that there?
Next door to
Don't worry about
it.
It's all gonna be fine.
Oh, tomorrow's gonna be fun.
Who's here? Who is coming tomorrow, by the way? Oh, wonderful. We're gonna talk about all sorts of ways of making people uncomfortable. It's called psychological sadism, and it's about making people deeply uncomfortable. Kind of trolling.
Consensual.
But more painful.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. So I had no idea what was going to happen in this performance. Other than this, I didn't know the teeth existed. She just said, all I got told was when we start, you're a priest and you're coming for this thing that you have to pay me for, and it's inevitable. You don't feel good about it. You're just here. I was like, I don't know what that means.
You need to develop your character. You need to
Yeah.
You need to do some like, I don't know.
Method acting.
Yes, exactly. Inhabit the body of someone who's going to the dentist. Think about what it's like.
Inhabit the body of someone who's going to the dentist, but they don't know they're going to the
That's how dogs feel. No, you're not.
Then you come home and you're all drugged up.
Did you?
Yeah, we talked about this a bit earlier, but like in terms of like relationship building, like where did you start and how did you get here?
Wow, that's a really interesting question. did we start? Well, we were working on a photo shoot together. We were put in touch by a friend of mine, and then we just really liked each other, and we just like got along really well. Yeah. But I think a lot of the flirting is me threatening you. Laughing nervously, basically. But also, like, the reason I'm able to do such weird shit is because he wants it or he allows it. Like, it's definitely not purely me. It's like because he's like, oh no. Terrible things happen, you know? Like, I don't know, like, I don't want to take all the credit when people are like, wow, that was really clever or weird or great or whatever. It's like because you inspire me to do these weird things and because you give me such lovely responses and because you're open to doing all this weird shit, you're like, oh, fine. I'm like, what's it gonna be this time, you know?
Were you into kink before you met her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh no, I didn't. I wasn't. Yeah.
No.
You didn't turn
She didn't grow up too
You could have. Again,
I
on
wasn't-
brand.
I wasn't into having my teeth brushed.
Are you worn out? Get you back the same way again.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd say I'm particularly into it now, but yeah.
Had you ever been suspended before
No.
you started time with her?
No, our first.
So that wasn't a kink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My first suspension was our first tie, which was like,
The first time we met,
yeah.
just that he came to my house, and I thought he was gonna be there an hour later than he actually was. So like I hadn't showered or brushed my teeth, and he like rang the doorbell, and I was like, fuck. So I got in the shower.
Yeah,
and was like, I can't hear you. I was like, I can't let this person in. I literally haven't washed or cleaned myself at all. Then I let you in. I was like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. I thought you were gonna be here an hour from now. And then I was microwaving yesterday's coffee in the microwave because that's who I am as a person, and I put it into a metal mug. So when I pulled it out, it like burned my hands, but also the coffee was really cold. And then he trusted me to do a lot of
If I hadn't seen like some of your stuff and
yeah.
contacted
Because
you,
like
I
at this
would've
point, like in his defense, like obviously it looks like I'm totally incompetent. But on the upside, like I've been doing work for like 7 years, and I do actually know what I'm doing, and I've worked on a lot of cool stuff. But I'm a little weird, so like there's some things that I'm not very good at, like putting food inside of my mouth, my chest or my like legs, you know, like I don't know. There's some things I really struggle with. So
I always joke and I say to people, I trust her with my life and I trust her to suspend me, etc. But I wouldn't trust her to close the boot of my car.
no, I slammed it on my head once, and I had a really bad bruise on the front of my forehead. I actually closed the boot on my own head, and it was really painful. How did we end up where we are in our relationship? Yeah. So I was running late, and then I let you in, and then trust me, we liked each other, and then the second time I met you, I think I suspended him for the shoot, and I waterboarded him with golden syrup, and that was really, really fun. And I love all of that like messiness as well, and like I think again with like limiting the mouth and limiting like breathing is really, really interesting to me as well. And you get this really beautiful golden texture with the syrup, and it's really messy.
I still can't smell golden syrup without thinking of so
Well,
over a year
and
At least it was golden syrup. Like at least it wasn't like the vor concept and like
Ooh.
something really yucky.
That's
Wow.
true.
It was the golden syrup. I'm sorry. I'm learning about these things.
So golden syrup it's like honey, but he's vegan, so it's a sugar
Gotcha.
substitute for
Yeah.
honey basically.
Gotcha.
And then I think you texted me and you were like, "You're haunting my dreams. When can I see you again?" And then
Yeah.
now we've been dating for a little over a year, and you just met my parents 2 days ago. All's well that ends well.
We spoke about clumsiness and
Yeah.
stuff, but I think one of the things that has really like stuck out, and this has been throughout the entire relationship, is her ability to communicate, and also the fact that even though sometimes we're doing very intense things, I know that like fundamentally she does them because she cares about me and because like it's coming from a place of love. Like for example, my birthday, all I know is I'm going to be kidnapped. Yeah, that's a lot to know. I don't know when. I just know that at some point in the next like 6 months I'm going to get kidnapped.
It takes a lot of project management. I have to
It's too obvious.
Foresight.
Yeah. So now I'm like,
Jesus. That was incredible.
yeah.
Okay, so first of all, he requested to be kidnapped. I don't have a driver's license. Okay, so this requires a lot of admin, logistics,
Recruitment.
You need to get a certain number of people in the room. Everybody's got crazy schedules. You got to apply really far in advance.
Delegation of
It's like trying to
jobs.
have a Dungeons and Dragons night.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's a lot. It's about the admin.
Absolutely. I'll be your
You
guy.
have to put yourself in the
Thank
mood.
you.
In English on the wrong side of the road. I'll figure it out. I drive enough. I'll figure it out.
Why is that car on the wrong side of the road and following me?
Brilliant. Perfect.
How did we end up here? I think like when I tell the story, I'm like, that's ridiculous, and it makes me laugh a lot, but it doesn't actually feel weird day to day. But then when I say it out loud, I'm like, that is ridiculous. No, it was the you're haunting my dreams. When can I see you again? And I was like, probably fucking does that to every girl. Like, you know what I mean? I was like, you know, but not every girl wants you to go and stare.
It was it was a vivid dream of she was grinning at me, holding a flick stick in her hand. I don't know if or a misery stick, some people call them.
Yes,
Yeah, she was like holding it and like grinning at me, and I was like, oh fuck, she's haunting my dreams.
And you were like, wow, I really like to meet this person's parents.
This seems like a really healthy relationship.
It's taken. No, I mean we tie like we probably tied like on average twice a week
for
for
more than a
like,
year.
more than a year. So
And
like
sometimes
it's
many more, so it's
yeah.
like 9 times in a week or something.
Yeah. And it's like it's that consistency and the communication, and you know sometimes things don't go to plan, but we talk about it.
Can I just show you all the surgical instruments? William lent them to me. Watch out, because there's a bowl full of your spit.
Are you saving that for later?
Yes. No. Jesus Christ.
You don't want to?
Look.
When a fellow demented mind shows up, you gotta share your collection.
Beautiful.
Almost not sad that I had a nosebleed.
I like the snapping sound.
Yeah, it's very like
Satisfying. Yeah. I said satisfying. She said threatening.
Toothpaste on it.
Yes, because I put it in my mouth.
Why is that? I don't even understand.
Dentists are doctors
That's true.
in the US.
That's true.
Pleasure of feedback.
Yeah, I didn't understand when it was happening, and I still don't. But.
Keep it so plain.
What was your favorite part of the scene tonight?
Oh. I don't know. I like all the little like responses and the noises he makes and things like this, and it was really satisfying, like watching all of the spit just coming out of his mouth. And he couldn't stop it either,
Yeah.
or saying like, "Oh, spit," and he's like, "I can't." I think there's something very funny, especially when you know someone's really intelligent, but then you reduce them to a state in which they're just like, and actually, I feel like this goes back to some sort of core memory when I was coming up the stairs in my parents' house, and I was holding a big crate of groceries, and my brother came down the stairs towards me, and he had a big head of lettuce. And then he just started, he stood at the top, so I couldn't go up the stairs, I couldn't go down the stairs. I was carrying this really heavy thing, I couldn't turn around. And then he took off each individual leaf of lettuce and stuffed it into my mouth. And I just had to stand there and just receive each of these leaves of lettuce. And I think that really inspired me to do a lot of what I do today. I'm just like, what the fuck is this? Like, what? And there's nothing you can do. You just have to wait until he was done.
That's how it all began.
Probably. Kind of. But it's not even, it's like you're amused by it or you're entertained by
It's
it.
just
Or I
fascinating.
don't know what. Yeah, it's kind of
very
like,
struck by
I'm not trying to
Why
describe
is
it.
this happening?
What's happening?
Could you have, in fact, just walked backwards down the stairs?
Not really. I was carrying a very heavy crate of groceries, so it was like kind of a little bit wobbly, and then if I couldn't have turned around because it was too narrow, and then to go back, then it was just like not really.
I've seen her close a car boot. She couldn't have walked.
I'm not a complete idiot. I'm just a bit.
Clumsy.
Yeah.
Jamie, where did you discover your love of being unnerved?
He's like, I love
Yeah.
being uncomfortable.
Yeah, I
It can make me so uncomfortable. That's kind of the situation now. Yes.
I think that is probably a kink unlocked by you. I don't even know. It was. I wouldn't call it a kink unlocked because it's. Uncomfortable. But yeah, I've definitely explored being uncomfortable a lot more with you.
Yeah. I think what I really enjoy is like enthusiasm, and also when people are like, yeah, I really want you to do this to me, and they'll bring you a bucket of ice or whatever. They'll be like, yeah. Or like one time you were like, I want you to hit me this brick, and you brought me the brick. It's like a little bit like when the dog brings you the stick because they want you to throw the stick. So I mean, it's similar to that. It's a nice way to put things.
Golden retriever masochist.
Absolutely, no, literally like. Here it is. Yeah.
Early on in our relationship, it was probably like a month in or something. She was telling me about how, even though she's lived in the UK for it was 11 years at the time,
Yeah.
she still sounds like she's kept her accent quite a lot, and she
Yeah.
hates when people think she's a tourist. I held on to that information. The next time we tied together, she was beating the shit out of me, and I was so determined to say it, even though I knew it was going to be a mistake. I just went, "It's really weird being beaten up by a tourist." It didn't end well.
I probably did something
It would have been.
unpleasant.
I think that was the armpits.
Oh, one thing I enjoy doing is like ripping his body hair out, and like you really take your time with it. Like you don't do it all at once. You know, you do like individual ones, and then you like do them in bits, like not consistently, or you wax him really poorly on one side. That's really funny as well.
I have a riding crop that has like these little like Swarovski crystals in the handle.
Oh.
But if you roll it across hairy skin, it randomly grabs.
Yeah.
I'll bring it Monday.
Yes.
You're welcome.
I have silicone oven mitts for lobster claws, which I bought as part of a lobster outfit for him. But I discovered that they're really good for ripping body hair out. That's what I now use for. So yeah, exactly. He won best dressed actually. He won best dressed as a lobster. Great lobster. Little eyeballs on the ends of the.
Yes. Oh, did the socks have little mustaches on them?
Yeah,
They do?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, I saw that.
I gotta ask, did you put those on for the actor? Were you wearing them all day?
So she asked, I had a different coloured pair of socks on that weren't black, and she said, "Do you have a black pair of socks for the performance?" she offered me hers that she'd been wearing all day. I could see like just, you know, hair and stuff on that. I was like, I'm gonna get a fresh pair because I know if I get the choice, I'll have some clean socks.
You know you're never getting a choice again.
She'll be like, she'll take mine off and then take hers off and getting too predictable.
Exactly right. Exactly. Got a lulling with a false sense of security. Does anybody else have a question or an observation they want to share?
I think I also really love fear and surprise as like combinations within play, and I wonder if you have any insights on like how to negotiate or communicate without giving up the gag. And just...
I think like the first thing is to try to understand that person and what they like and don't like and how they like to feel. And then you can kind of try to extrapolate from there like experiences they might enjoy or not enjoy. And obviously the more you know somebody, the more you can get into what they find scary but acceptably scary versus things that are
enjoying.
versus like things that are actually not okay or things they actually don't want. Yeah, and also it's like something you develop like over time, and also like when they say no to something and you're like, okay, thank you for telling me, and you establish that trust, and then you do that many, many, many times, and then you kind of you have like a baseline of like my comparison is usually if I'm getting tattooed, like I'm in pain, but I know I'm not going to be injured. So I'm uncomfortable, but I don't actually feel scared, and so I can accept that I'm uncomfortable. And that's what I'm aiming for is like, oh, this is really unpleasant, and I'm scared or I'm surprised, but I'm not actually like viscerally frightened. I'm like, okay, like I know I'm not going to get actually injured or hurt by this.
I think also
Yeah.
it kind of goes both ways. Like if she's going to do something that we haven't done before and it's meant to be as a surprise, or you know, like today I've had no idea what was going to happen, but she didn't. I think today we didn't do anything that we haven't really done before, or at least like done similar to. But also, I think if there's a problem, she knows I'll tell her. So like if she does try something new without it, you know, like she's not going to try something completely outside of the box that we haven't negotiated, but if she's like, okay, we're going to see where we can go today with something, she knows that I'll tell her if it's a problem.
I try not to incorporate too many new elements at the same time. So for example, like I had a lot of new elements in terms of like the props and that kind of thing, but in terms of rope, these are all things we've done many, many times. Or for example, like we did a photo shoot where he was tied up underwater, and for that I was like, we're not going to tie anything new. We're going to do only things we've done a million times. Like there's a whole new element here that we're trying to deal with. I don't know. I feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
Did I answer your question?
Yeah, that helps.
I think also you can suggest something and see how they respond, and then do it like a year later. Like,
When they've forgotten about it.
It doesn't have to be like, oh, how would you feel if I did this thing tomorrow? It would be like, oh, well, how do you feel about this? See, you know, and you can talk about it, and then.
I keep meticulous notes about everything, like his shoe size and the names of his family members and things. So like, he'd really like it if this happened. He really wouldn't like it. Oh, this sensation is unpleasant. Like whatever. Like I make a lot of notes.
A lot of effort goes.
A lot of love goes into making you very uncomfortable.
What has meeting each other taught you about yourselves? Like what have you learned about yourselves since you've started playing and exploring with each other?
I think I'm more creative than I thought I was. I'm pretty creative, but also like because you're very willing to go with it. Like usually, like so for example, I make cosplays and we go to Comic-Con together and we get dressed up and stuff. And like most people I've dated before are like they're kind of tolerant of it, but they're not really into it. They're like, oh, I'll do it if you want to do it. But he's like, yeah, let's do it. We're gonna do it. And then that means I can be more and more creative with the stuff that we do, including room, but also doing other things.
Do you want the light answer? Or the deep answer? Okay, buckle in. So I think for me, one of the things I've noticed now is I'm a lot more comfortable being vulnerable in ways that I could never have imagined being vulnerable in, not just together, but also as a unit in front of people. So 2 months ago,
September.
Yeah, September we did a performance. It was a charity performance based around domestic abuse. And during this performance, I was suspended, and I had some scars covered up from a abusive relationship that I experienced a few years ago. And this was like a live performance. We had a vocalist who told stories of like specific things that happened during that time. And I never could have imagined doing like anything like that, like even speaking about it in front of a group like this. And so I think one of the things that I've really learned about myself is, or worked on throughout this time, has been that ability to be vulnerable with people. And that comes because she makes me feel very safe.
Aww. Thank you for sharing.
Guys. We're gonna think we like each other. Can't get weird. Like,
And then now the deep answer. No. Any more questions?
I guess we can wrap up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you both so much.